All right, deep divers, welcome back for another deep dive with me. And today, we're talking about Buffalo Wild Wings' new March Madness campaign. And it's a really interesting one because, instead of those like slam dunk beer chugging sports bar ads that we're all used to, they went kind of retro this year with this hilarious faux infomercial for what they're calling B-Dubs vision goggles. And the whole premise is, solving that age-old problem of wanting to watch every single game at once during March Madness.
Oh, yeah. It's a brilliant move. They're really tapping into a powerful marketing force here, and that's nostalgia. And we've actually got two sources today that we're going to use to unpack all of this. A Marketing Dive article that details the campaign itself, and then also an excerpt from Nostalgia Marketing, the 2025 connection strategy, to kind of give us a bit of a broader context.
Perfect, yeah. And the Marketing Dive piece calls the campaign "So Many TVs, Not Enough Eyes." Already a winning tagline in my book. And the star is Hank, their CGI Buffalo mascot, who's now this like over-the-top infomercial guy pitching these vision goggles. They've even got a microsite where you can actually buy them. A Snapchat lens, the whole 9 yards,
Yeah, it's really a multi-pronged approach, kind of like a basketball team with players covering different areas of the court. And here, Buffalo Wild Wings is using different platforms to reach you. TV, social media, even their website.
Yeah, I like that analogy a lot. And according to Nostalgia Marketing, this isn't just some random gimmick. Tapping into those warm, fuzzy feelings from the past is like a marketing gold mine.
It is. It really is. And the book explains that nostalgia cuts through the noise of all the digital clutter that we're surrounded by every day. Think about it. You're scrolling through your phone, you're bombarded by all these ads, and then bam, something familiar and comforting pops up, like a throwback to those cheesy infomercials that we all secretly loved. It just stops you in your tracks.
Okay, that makes total sense. So nostalgia is powerful. But why, though? It's not just about remembering funny products, right?
Right. Nostalgia creates an emotional connection, almost like a shortcut to trust. The book says it's because our brains associate those warm feelings with simpler times, when we felt safe and cared for. So when brands use nostalgia, they're essentially borrowing those positive feelings and linking them to their products.
Wow, I never thought of it that way before. It's like they're tapping into our inner child.
Exactly. And Buffalo Wild Wings is playing on those childhood memories of, staying up late, glued to the TV, watching those wacky infomercials.
Oh, yeah, I remember those. The gadgets and the over-the-top demonstrations. It was like a whole different world.
And now Buffalo Wild Wings is inviting us back into that world, but this time with chicken wings and basketball. It's a really smart way to differentiate themselves from all the competition out there.
So they're not just selling food. They're selling an experience, a feeling. This is fascinating. I'm starting to see why this campaign might be more than just a funny gimmick.
It definitely is. And the campaign details are even funnier. One ad shows Hank wearing the goggles and suddenly realizing that they're totally unflattering. It's like they're poking fun at that whole infomercial look.
Oh my gosh, I have to see this. It sounds like they're really leaning into the humor and the self-awareness. Okay, I'm hooked. Tell me more.
Oh, you'll love it. They have another spot where Hank's all like hyping up the goggles' patented technology, but then he like winks at the camera. It's that self-awareness, that knowing nod to how cheesy those old infomercials were. That's what makes the campaign so clever.
Yeah, they're totally in on the joke. And honestly, that just makes me trust them even more. It's like they're saying, hey, we get it. We're not trying to fool anybody. We just want you to have fun.
Exactly. And nostalgia marketing actually talks about this. When brands use humor and self-deprecation, it actually signals authenticity. And that builds trust with consumers, especially younger generations. They're super skeptical of traditional advertising.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So it's not all just talk, though. They are actually selling these B-Dubs vision goggles for like $9.99 on their website.
Yeah.
But is anybody actually going to buy them?
Maybe not, but that's not really the point. The goggles are a conversation starter. It's about creating buzz and getting people talking and sharing, which ultimately boosts brand awareness.
Oh, right. So even if people don't buy them, they're still engaging with the brand. And they're sharing the joke with their friends and spreading the word about Buffalo Wild Wings.
Precisely. And they've actually amplified this even further with the Snapchat lens. It's like they're saying, hey, don't just watch the ad become a part of the experience. It's a brilliant way to tap into the power of user-generated content. Which is, marketing gold these days.
Yeah, you've convinced me. This campaign is genius. It's funny, it's clever, it's engaging, and it all just comes back to this powerful idea of nostalgia. But do you think this trend goes beyond just selling chicken wings and beer?
Absolutely. Nostalgia's everywhere. Think about the fashion trends we're seeing. Like the resurgence of 90s grunge or the comeback of vintage denim. Music is filled with, reboots and remixes of classic hits. Even in movies and TV shows, we're seeing tons of reboots and sequels of beloved classics.
Wow, you're right. Our entire culture is obsessed with the past. But why? What's driving all this nostalgia?
Well, some experts believe that it's a reaction to just the overwhelming pace of change and uncertainty in the world today. Nostalgia offers a sense of comfort and familiarity, a reminder of simpler times.
So it's like a form of escapism, a way to retreat to a time when things felt less complicated.
Exactly. And brands are really smart to tap into that. But it's not just about, slapping a retro logo on a product. It's about really understanding those specific emotions and memories that resonate with your target audience.
So it's about telling a story and creating an experience that goes beyond just selling a product.
Precisely. And Buffalo Wild Wings just nailed it with this campaign.
This has been such an insightful deep dive. I'm starting to see nostalgia in a whole new light. But before we wrap up, I have one final question for you. If you were a brand looking to tap into this nostalgia trend, what advice would you give? What's the key to doing it right?
Oh, that's a great question. I think, if I were a brand dipping my toes into the nostalgia pool, the first step is really knowing your audience, like really knowing them. What were their formative experiences? What cultural moments shaped their view of the world? What makes them feel that warm, fuzzy feeling of the good old days?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's about understanding that specific nostalgia that resonates with your target audience. You can't just throw any old retro reference out there and expect it to stick. I mean, using a 90s boy band reference might work great for millennials, but it's probably going to fall flat with Gen Z.
Right. So it's like tailoring the nostalgia to fit the generation that you're trying to reach.
Exactly. Like custom-made B-Dubs vision goggles,
Yep.
but for marketing.
Yeah, exactly. And once you understand those nostalgic touch points, you can weave them into your brand story. Think about how Buffalo Wild Wings tapped into those late-night infomercial memories. They didn't just use a retro aesthetic, they actually recreated the whole experience. The over-the-top demonstrations, the cheesy humor, even the feeling of staying up late and indulging in something a little bit silly.
Yeah, it's like they transported us back to our childhood living rooms, but this time with better snacks.
Yeah.
And you know what? It worked. I am suddenly craving chicken wings and basketball, and I haven't watched March Madness in years.
That's the power of nostalgia done right. It creates an emotional connection that transcends the product itself. And that's what makes it such a valuable tool for brands in today's, really cluttered marketing landscape.
So it's not just about selling a product, it's about selling a feeling, a memory, a connection to something bigger than ourselves. This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. I'm going to be looking at marketing through a whole new lens, now a nostalgia lens.
I'm glad to hear it. And remember, the next time you see a brand using nostalgia, don't just dismiss it as a cheap trick. Take a closer look. Think about the emotions they're trying to evoke and ask yourself, why does this resonate with me? You might be surprised at what you discover.
That's great advice. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of nostalgia marketing. Until next time, fellow explorers.